Hey friends, welcome to the recordings from the Study and Work in America International Student E-Summit. It was such an amazing webinar. I'm Rob. It was my privilege to help host this event. Thanks for everyone who tuned in, and for those who missed it, we're going to be sharing these recordings to help you guys, to guide you on your journey whether to study or work and get jobs here in America. This video is the recording of my presentation where I talk about the best way to get jobs in America, why applying online is really the worst way to get a job, and alternative ways and easier ways to get jobs here in America. Enjoy. Let me know in the chat if you guys are ready to learn how to get jobs in America. Awesome. I mean, I'm guessing you guys want to get a job, right? It's kind of an important thing. Awesome. So I'm so excited. This is what I love teaching students about because it's so important. It's a big struggle and I hate that. And I've loved learning about this. I get so excited. I get invited to the college to speak about this. I get to teach this stuff with companies here in Dallas. And yeah, even like you said, with the coronavirus, jobs are even harder now. So these things I'm going to teach you guys are specifically going to help you daily, normally, but also even specifically now. This is what's going to really help you get jobs in the tough economy of the coronavirus. And so thanks again to all you first speakers from the first session. You guys did awesome. I've loved all the feedback, and I'm hoping that me and Sundaria and Parth can deliver and follow up and continue the second half and make it fun. So let's get started. So first, here's my family. My wife, Mel, my daughters, Karis and Lucy. Funny thing is, I actually studied engineering. I did petroleum engineering at the University of Tulsa, which is one of the top universities in the world for petroleum engineering. I wanted to make lots of money and work all over the world. And I actually had six-figure job offers after college. But some of my perspectives on life changed when I was in college. I learned that money isn't the most important thing in the world. I hope you guys can learn that lesson along your journey as well, especially coming to America. And I ended up going to work in India, actually to do business, to do training, consulting, and research. So I worked in India for 8 years, lived in Hyderabad, Delhi, and Bangalore, and traveled all over India, loved it. And I've been very lucky. I've been to about 30 different countries around the world. This top picture, for both of our daughters, when they were a few months old, we did a namkaran, or a namakaran naming ceremony, where we had lots of our friends and neighbors. We did it in a very traditional Indian way. We love the meaning of names in Indian and many of the Eastern cultures, which we don't really have in our Western culture. And so our older daughter, Karis, her Indian nickname is Karishma, which means, in Sanskrit, it means miracle. And Lucy, her name is Lalita, which means beautiful. And Karis means grace, and Lucy means light. So we wanted our daughters to have meaningful names. And we loved learning and embracing the culture wherever we've gone. And this bottom left picture here, we also, when we came to Dallas to start working here, we found out there's so many, not just international professionals, but international students. And so this is a picture of three girls, some good friends of ours, Manali, Yuti, and Honey, who stayed at our house for a few days. When they first landed at the airport, they stayed at our home for a few days. We hosted them, helping out the Indian Student Association with over 1,000 Indian students who came this fall with the airport pickups. We love celebrating the festivals, and me and a bunch of my friends, we love volunteering and helping out the international students at the local college here. And that's where Chai and Coaching kind of got born out of. So yeah. We love just the experience to serve, and things led to another, and now we're here doing this together, and it's so much fun. All right, so a question for you guys is, in the chat, what do you think is the biggest stress that international students face here in America? So go ahead in the chat. What is the biggest stress that you guys face here in America? And someone asked how I earn. That's a good question. So I do consulting and training as my job. I do cross-cultural training and consulting. The Chai and Coaching is just kind of a fun on the side thing, but I do that professionally with companies and schools and lots of different organizations here in Dallas. Trump is the biggest stress. There's definitely some truth to that. These guys have made some great videos with Trump's face, screaming on there. And he's not just the biggest stressor for even international students, but some Americans as well. So I remember in fall 2016 having international students over to watch the debates and the primaries and the elections, and it was crazy seeing all that happen. But I would say the biggest stressor is jobs for you guys. I mean, cost of living, transportation, safety, getting, food and groceries, missing your family and friends, but obviously jobs. And most importantly, there's really three kind of jobs for you guys. There's on-campus jobs, CPT internships, and then OPT jobs. So again, there's on-campus jobs, CPT internships, and then OPT jobs. There's another category called illegal off-campus jobs, and I highly don't recommend those. And I think our other friends would also encourage to stay away from the illegal off-campus jobs as well. So what I'm going to share about is going to apply to all three of those. This philosophy, this mentality works for on-campus, CPT internships, and the OPT jobs. Okay, iceberg analogy. I love teaching this iceberg analogy. Literally, when I'm at, having chai with my friends, I'll grab like one of their water bottles and say like, hey, this is an iceberg. Here's the tip, and show them this illustration. And an iceberg, it's what sunk the Titanic, which is many people, their favorite movie of all time, good old James Cameron, the Titanic. I can still think of the theme song right now. And an iceberg, has a little bit above the surface and a lot under the water. And we're going to do a quick poll because this iceberg analogy is relevant to the US job market. So this poll is for you guys. Let me launch this real quick. All right, go ahead and vote. I want to see what you guys think. What is the percentage of the US jobs in America are found online? What do you guys think? Is it 5 to 10%, 20 to 30%, 50 to 55%, 80 to 90%? Let's take 30 more seconds and see what you guys think. Panelists, you guys can vote too if you want to. You guys, this is amazing. You guys got it right. So 43%, 145 of you voted for 20 to 30%, and that's correct. I'm very impressed. Well done, you guys. And so this is how the US job market works. There's the online job market, and then there's what's called the offline or the hidden job market. And really, all the jobs that you can find online, that you can go on your phone, go on your computer and find online, is roughly and conservatively only about 20–30% of the available jobs in America. That's not very much. So anytime you go to LinkedIn, Google, Indeed, Glassdoor, Monster, your college career websites, Handshake, the company job portals, you're only getting access to about 20 to 30% of the US job market. This hidden job market is hidden, it's under the surface, and you kind of have to get wet to get under there. Networking is not easy, relationships are not easy, but that's where jobs come from. That's where the job market is, and most of the jobs in America never get access online, never make it into the World Wide Web. A LinkedIn article by Lou Adler, he's a CEO of performance-based hiring and learning systems. He wrote a LinkedIn article, and in his article, he said, new surveys reveals that 85% of all jobs are filled via networking. 85% of all the jobs, especially here in America, are filled by networking. That means only 15% are left to be found online. It's even less. Tim Ferriss, which is a guy I highly recommend you guys follow. He's got one of the biggest podcasts in the world. He's a blogger, he's an author. He's the one that wrote the famous 4-Hour Work Week. In one of his blog articles and podcast interviews, he talks about the difference between formal and informal job market. Formal is referring to the online job market, informal is referring to the hidden offline job market. And he says 80% of hiring happens in the informal job market. It's under the surface, it's offline, it's hidden, 80%. And when interviewing this expert, Michael Ellsberg, he said, what's his advice for job seekers? He said 3 things: network, network, network. That is how you get a job. And then Dan Boudry, the author of Power Ties, that one that we're giving away is the free gift, he says the exact same thing. And this message gets repeated over and over and over and over and over again. But my friends, unfortunately, there's some bad news for you guys. It gets even worse for F1 students. A lot of these jobs that come online, you can't have. One of the heartbreaking things is when students go to a career fair and there's all these great companies and many of them don't sponsor visas, or they have a sign that say, not taking F1 visas. Or when you go apply online, it says, is sponsorship required, or we do not hire F1 visas. And that just eliminates half or more of these companies that are available. So that cuts out a huge percentage of job options. So many companies don't sponsor or want to mess with the F1 visa process. Another issue that you guys face as international students is that there's cultural differences. You are from very different cultures. Eastern culture and Western culture is so different. So relationships, communication, just how you get jobs is totally different. Simple things just like not understanding your accent. that could impact it. If they can't understand you clearly in your accent with your mother tongue influence, they might not hire you or be interested. Or if you don't have soft skills, bad soft skills, even if you have good technical skills and you can't relate, is going to really hurt you. And so, if you're only applying online, you just have a very small chance. And if you're an F1 student applying online, you have an even smaller chance. I would even wager to say only 5–10% of the whole available job market you have access to as an F1 student applying online. And those chances are terrible. The odds are not in your favor. And yet that's what almost the only thing that international students do is sit at home, apply online, and hope something happens, which just blows my mind. I got some more bad news for you, friends. The HR formalities here in America are working against you. When you apply for a job through the formal HR process, which is apply, submit your resume, they're looking to reject you. And the reason is there is so much competition. Because of all the competition, because in America, time is money. We have to move fast. We have to make decisions quick. In most of the world, most of you guys are coming from Eastern culture, time is relationship. But in America, time is task and time is money. And so we need to make these decisions. We got to hire quick. And so they're not looking for, ooh, who do I like the most? They're looking, who can I filter out and reject the quickest so that we can get to the right candidate? So they're looking to reject. There's so much competition. There's these ATS tracking systems. If you don't have that keyword, it's an algorithm formula that rejects you, not even a person. That really has to hurt. Again, simple things like any tiny mistakes in an email, a misspelling on a resume, a little bit of bad grammar, if they can't understand your accent, if you're 5 minutes late, whatever little thing, they're looking to reject you. There isn't grace, there isn't flexibility. It's a very negative approach versus a positive approach. And when you apply online in the formal HR system, through recruiters and hiring managers, you're just a number in a system. You're not a person, you're not a unique individual, you're just a number lost in a sea of competition, and you're just trying not to drown and you barely have a chance. I'm sorry, but this is the hard truth you need to understand. And it's really interesting when you begin to learn what happens actually when you apply online. I think what I really encourage students to do when coming to America is in any kind of cross-cultural interaction, you want to empathize and understand where people are coming from. So you have to imagine yourself in their situation. And the same thing is in the job market here. You need to imagine yourself in the shoes of an HR person, again, where there's pressure, time is money, we need to fill these jobs fast. When a job gets posted online or LinkedIn, how many messages do you guys think? Comment below in the comments. How many messages do they get? How many people do you think apply? Actually, here's a fun question. Comment. I want to see you guys in the comments. How many F1 international students do you guys think are in America? Do you guys know how many F1 international students are in America? Yeah, some of you guys, there's over 1 million F1 international students in America. Not to mention all the other Americans who are here trying to get jobs. And so, yeah, it's hundreds, thousands of people are applying for these job postings. And so again, you're just get lost in this sea of competition. So if you're an HR person, think of yourself, all right, I've got to hire this position for this team. You open up the posting or your email and there's, 2,000 job applications that are all pretty good profiles. Do you have time to look at that? How are you going to differentiate these things? You know what they do before they even look at your application? They go to that team and they say, hey guys, do you know anyone who's a good fit for this job? Because a referral is always a safer hire. No one's going to refer someone that they don't think is good because it's a reputation of the line. So they're always going to prefer referral. There's referral bonuses, there's money, so that's more incentive. So they're always going to try and fill a job internally or through referral before they even ever look at your application. So a lot of times when you apply online, they've filled it internally through referral before they ever look at your application, because that is the preferred way to hire, because it saves time, saves money, and they're going to get someone they know and have a better shot at than a total random stranger, which is what you are when you apply online. Another difficult thing is when companies hire someone, say they're going to hire someone from outside, and they're just, hey, we're bringing you in. American companies have these laws, rules, and formalities that because we hired somebody, we have to make a job posting to make it look like it was equal opportunity for everyone. We've hired this person, Mr. Joe. We've brought him out. We're going to hire him for this job. This is a new job we're creating. But in order for us to do this legally, we have to put a job posting online to make it look like it was available to everybody, but we're already hiring Joe. So a company X puts up this job posting. We need this position filled. They've already hired Joe, and thousands of people apply for this job not knowing that Joe has already gotten it. Another thing that happens is recruiters, HR people, they're just busy. And sometimes they just forget to take down the postings. So a lot of times you guys are applying to job postings that have already been filled and they just forgot to take down. So when you guys apply online, they're looking to reject you. They're always going to prioritize the referral. A lot of times they're kind of fake job posting because they're a formality for someone they already picked, or it's something they already filled and just forgot to take down. So a lot of the times you're applying online, they never ever see your application and it just sits there dead, or you get an automatic rejection. And the odds are not in your favor. Someone asked F1 students. F1 visa is the visa that international students get to come to America. So an F1 student is an international student in America. Are you guys feeling encouraged right now? Are you guys excited to apply online for jobs? I hope not. All right, let's talk about some myths and let's talk about some facts. This is the time of year which I have some really funny and really hard conversations. I get a lot of calls, a lot of texts, a lot of LinkedIn messages, a lot of really bad LinkedIn messages from people desperate for jobs. People are trying to get those CPT internships or OPT jobs. People are getting laid off. And this is what they say, Rob, help me. I need a job, help me. And I always ask the same two questions. The first question I ask my friends is, how many applications have you filled out online? You guys will be shocked. Most of the time I hear 500 applications. 800 applications, 1,000 applications. And you know what? That's just normal. And a lot of them won't even get an interview call. Maybe they get a couple interviews and it's a reject. The average ratio I've heard from my friends, it takes about 1 to 300 applications online just to get one interview call. And that is a terrible ROI. And in my opinion, a huge waste of time. But then the second question I ask is, how many American friends do you have? And you know what the majority of the answers are? Rob, you are my only American friend. And I say, oh, thank you. I'm honored. But that is why you don't have a job. Most people will say max, they have 5 or 10 American friends. Many of them are just students and not professionals. Very few have any professional American friends at all. And that is why they don't have a job. Because they believe this myth. There's a lie that the more applications I fill out, the better of chances I have at getting a job. But that is a lie because this system is working against you. The truth is the number of American professionals you have, the growth of your network, the number of professional relationships you have in America, that is what's going to be proportional to the chances of getting a job. It's not the number of applications, it's the number of American professionals you know, because that's where jobs come from in America. And it could even be professionals from your home country. That works too, because they're working here and they can also help. So that is so important. It's not the number of applications, it's the number of your professional relationships. And you can practice building those relationships with students, but those students, your friends, they're also students and they can't really help you get a job. So what do we do about that? The hard thing is, networking is going to be a lot harder than applying online. It's just a fact. You guys are filling out so many applications online, not getting any interviews, not getting any callbacks, you know, and even those few interviews mostly result in rejects. And here's the thing, we tell you to network. The colleges tell you to network, but most students, they don't. It's because they don't know why to network. They don't know how to network. And the problem is networking is not in your DNA. Most of you come from an Eastern culture. So Western culture is America, Europe, and Australia. And the rest of the world, Asia, Africa, Middle East, Latin America, you guys are what's called Eastern culture. 4 out of 5 people in the world are Eastern. You are the majority. Us Westerners are the weird minority. You guys are communalistic, where we're independent and individualistic. So we're about standing out, but Eastern cultures, it's about not standing out. You kind of are supposed to stick to your community. You're not supposed to meet strangers and talk to new people. And your culture doesn't encourage you to do what we would call networking and small talk. You don't chit chat with strangers in the street like we like to do here in America. And especially with big countries and cultures like India or China, you know, you guys already have too many relationships you have time for. You don't have time to meet new people and start relationships with strangers. And you have this big dance of formality to become a new relationship. So most people, especially international students, have no idea how to network in the American sense when they come here. Then you guys are from a different culture, and then you come to America in a different culture. where how we talk is different, how we build relationships is different. But the most important way to get a job is networking. You've never networked, you don't know how to network. And this is not your fault. This is just the reality. Therefore, most students don't network. There's this bubble. These international students have these bubbles here at UT Dallas. I call it the Desi bubble because, Indians just stay with Indians, or Kannadigas just stay with Kannadigas, and Gujaratis just stay with Gujaratis, and the Chinese stay with the Chinese, and the Iranians stay with the Iranians, and no one gets out of their bubble. And if you never step out of your bubble, you never get a job. And my recommendation is, hey, keep a foot in your bubble. It's great you have friends that speak your language, eat your food, celebrate your holidays. But if you don't step out of the bubble and experience America and have American relationships, you're really going to struggle to get a job. And so again, you're going to be told to network. The college will tell you, but this is one of the biggest ways the colleges are going to fail you here in America is what you learn in the classroom is great, but the colleges actually don't teach you how to get a job. They teach you what to do when you get a job, but they don't really teach you how to get a job. They don't teach you why to network, and they don't teach you how to network. And so most students actually never end up networking. And so it's going to be an uphill battle. You have to get under the surface. You have to get wet. You have to go against the flow. You can't follow the herd blindly, but those that do will be rewarded. Here's the thing. This is not going to get you a job. Messaging hundreds of people on LinkedIn and say, can you refer me as a stranger? This is actually going to hurt you. It takes real relationships. And this is my opinion. Others might agree. LinkedIn is not networking. Anything online is not real networking because it's not a real relationship. It has to be offline. Just like how most jobs are found offline. It takes sitting down in a person, have a meal, have a chai, have a coffee, spending real time. That's where a real relationship network comes from. Now, LinkedIn is great to start those that get to a real relationship, or once you have a relationship, you can continue that on LinkedIn. But if it's not a real relationship, it's really going to be hard to really help each other out, to bless and serve one another. So to wrap this up for you guys, hopefully you realize that networking, again, 85% of the jobs in America are going to come from networking, not by applying online. So you really need to focus and learn how to network. In this short session, I've taught you guys the why. Unfortunately, I don't have time to teach you how. Other people, Roshni did a great job teaching how. Other people are talking about that. I think Sundari is going to give some good tips as well. But you guys need to practice. I wish I could tell you all the stories of my friends, the few international students who actually network and have no problems getting jobs, where jobs come to them. And so I have a few of their stories on my China Coaching channel. I know some of these guys have also shared some great stories about networking success stories. So please check those out. It works. It really works. Those that do it, jobs come to them. But in America, you have to play by our rules. In India, I learned to play cricket, but here we play baseball. In India, I had to learn to speak Hindi and Kannada, but here it's English. There it's Bollywood. Here it's Hollywood. There it's eating biryani with your hands. Here it's with my fork and spoon. So you have to learn to, again, getting a job is very different here, and you have to play by our rules. And if you don't play by the American rules to get a job, you're going to really struggle to get a job. You're going to fail. It's going to be hard. But if you do it, if you play by our rules, jobs are going to come to you. And so read this book, Power Ties. I highly recommend it. A lot of the stuff I teach is kind of very similar to what this guy teaches. Just great book, #1 book for international students. And again, if you network well, jobs come to you. I get job offers, I get interviews when I'm not looking for a job, just because I brand myself well on LinkedIn and I network well, and relationships bring jobs to me. And I never even have to apply online. So keep learning how to network, make that your biggest priority from day one here in America, and practice, practice, practice. Again, we're all gonna fail. I was terrible at speaking Hindi. I was terrible at playing cricket, but I failed a lot, I practiced, and then I got pretty good at it. And the same is with networking. You have to have a lot of really bad, awkward conversations before you get good. You have to get wet under the surface in the iceberg analogy, and then it's easy. All right, let's do some Q&A.
Yeah, I think one question was how to actually maximize an international exposure so as to build a good network and avoid being in the social bubble. What would be your suggestion on that? Like how to really, I think UD covered a lot of this, but still, like, let's say when I was at UTD, or, what would be your suggestion for students who are just coming right now?
Yeah, I mean, the hard thing is if your roommates are all from your same country, if your classmates are mostly from your same country, And even if you come to America and even your professors are from your same country, it's going to be really hard. And so you have to make the extra effort, to go meet Americans. A lot of it's going to be off campus. You have to go to meetups, conferences, mixers, networking events. There are so many free opportunities that are great for students. And those who go to those, that's where jobs are found. The hard thing is now is with social distancing, you can't do that. Someone asked about that virtually. So a lot of these things are actually moving online. I've been at, a lot of the conferences I'm going to be speaking at these next couple of months are going to be online. I've attended conferences online, and I've actually networked virtually on Zoom, met people that have turned into off-conference relationships where we're emailing, we're dialoguing, it's turning into phone calls, it's turning into video calls. And so we have to be extra creative now, but there's still meetups, conferences, mixers. People are putting together just happy hours, game nights, fun things, initiate these opportunities, find them. They're available. You can even implement these things online now and meet with professionals who are looking to connect. And the great thing about networking mixers and events and things like Meetup, everyone is there for the purpose to meet someone, to build new relationships and see how you can help each other out. So there isn't that like hidden manipulative agenda because you guys are all there for the same thing. So you don't have to feel that weird pressure.
So I see a question here from, this is a very good question. So Samriddhi Maheshwari asks that apart from career fairs or conferences, what are the other opportunities where we can network offline? I'm going to let you answer that, Rob, and then I have a few suggestions there.
So I think meetups is one of the best things. I love going to meetups and taking students to meetups here in DFW. There's for every industry, every interest, every passion. Hackathons are great opportunities. Anytime you can be involved in a hackathon or a case competition, that's just great industry exposure. I know a lot of the colleges work really hard to bring in local professionals and industry stuff, and a lot of students don't go to these really good free opportunities. I know students who do go to those get to meet like local CEOs and get internships out of that. My friend Anch, he's told his story about that. And so yeah, those opportunities exist. A lot of times students are just lazy or apathetic and don't go. So it takes a lot of just simple research and initiative, and you'll find endless opportunities to go meet awesome professionals and industry leaders in your city. Pooja, you want to add something?
Yeah, so I was going to say hackathons as well. And the only other thing I had apart from meetups and hackathons is volunteering. And I know that's not something that comes to your mind when you think of networking, but what you might not know is at Salesforce, the company that I work in, we can volunteer up to 56 hours every year, which are completely paid. So like there's a lot of companies in the US have quotas where their employees can go and volunteer for free, as in they can go and volunteer, which is paid. So because of that, there is a high probability of meeting, folks from tech companies at volunteering events. And I know that there's an organization called FIRST, which is related to robotics, teaching robotics for kids. And that is a place where you can meet a lot of people from tech companies. And there, you're working towards a shared goal. So there's a higher chance of you making a good relationship there, as opposed to a networking event where they know that you're there to get their referral. But here, they know that you're both working towards something you both care about. And then eventually that becomes a relationship that you can leverage.
That's great.
So there's a question, does American mind if a stranger comes and talk to them randomly?
Most of the cases, Americans like that. I mean, in any place in the world, someone might think that's weird. Again, a lot of it is what you talk about, but Americans, we like small talk. This is an analogy that helps my friends. So Eastern cultures, especially known as in India, for strangers to become friends, there's this dance of formality of reciprocal relationships. I'm going to have this person over for chai, and if it goes well, then they invite me over for coffee. Okay, I have them over for lunch, they have me over for dinner. Okay, over for a birthday, over for a holiday, and you go deeper and deeper in this dance of formality, and then there's a relationship, and then maybe you would think about like referring someone. For me, like one time I was flying back home from Arizona visiting family, and I had a 20-minute conversation with this guy on the airplane next to me. He was a local entrepreneur, marketing specialist. After 20-minute good conversation, we would have done anything for each other. We would have referred each other, hooked each other up. We connected on LinkedIn. In a short 20-minute conversation, we would have really helped each other out. So Americans, we are very friendly, but we're not looking for friendships. So we like a lot of surface level connections. We like small talk. We like a lot of Facebook friends, but we have a very small capacity for deep relationships. Like Eastern cultures, you guys don't seem very friendly to us Westerners, but you guys are friends for life, and you have these really deep relationships that we can't even comprehend as Westerners. So again, it's just a total cultural difference. But yeah, we like small talk. A lot of international students get freaked out because Americans talk to them as strangers. They'll say, hey, hello. They'll talk to you on the street and in the store and on the campus. And you have to learn how to do that as well, normally and not awkward, because that's just how we do it. And again, it just takes practice. And so, yeah, normally it's okay.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I have two things to cover over, which is like what you said, like it's a cultural thing. A lot of times Indian things that think that like Americans are above Indians. I don't know. It's like just a very, very superficial mindset that they have. And I used to feel, I never felt like that, but I used to kind of sense those things coming from my friends, because I had a lot of American friends. My best friend, she's Mexican, and the another one, she's Chinese. So I have like a very diverse culture of friends. And when I spoke to my Indian friends, they always kind of looked up on me like, how do you do that? And I was like, but why do you think so? And then I got an insight into their mind, and I got to know that they think Americans or any other cultural people are above them. And that's the reason they cannot have that much of friendship or something like that. But it's just people, it's just people of different cultures. And one of the best ways that you can make sure that you're not overstepping a boundary is by mirroring. You don't initiate too much, you kind of just reciprocate. So for example, if an American or if any other person is kind of giving you some like they're trying to be friendly with you, you reciprocate that and you let them take the lead. You don't lead if you are scared of that. So that's what I do. If I'm really skeptical of what the dynamic is, I just reciprocate and then let the other person lead. So that's one of the things that I wanted to add.
Yeah. And people ask me all the time, Rob, how do I talk to an American? The best thing is you just ask questions. The best networkers never talk about themselves. They're just curious people who ask good basic questions that want to learn from somebody. That is the best networking advice you're ever going to get, is just someone can always teach you something. Just ask some good basic questions. And that's the best way to network. It's not about what you say about yourself. It's what you can learn about someone else. Harnoor, did you have one question you saw, buddy?
Yeah, but before that, I wanted to add on that I was also not a social person, but the only way I became social in America was just pushing myself to be with non-Indian roommates. So I have never lived with any roommate in 4 years. I've lived with roommates from France, Germany, Africa, Japan, and Pakistan and Bangladesh. So that's how I kind of became like culturally more friendly with other people.
That's a good example of stepping out of the bubble.
Yeah. And the other question that I saw was for O1 visa, how to get O1 visa, because and I found this question very interesting because Priyanka Chopra also came on O1 visa, but I kind of don't know how to get into US as O1 visa. Do you know about that?
I can step in. I've researched a little bit on that. So O1 visa is like, if you have to be extraordinary in a couple of things. You have to be a singer or some kind of artist. If you have a company of your own, you can get O1 visa. And if you get an O1 visa, then you're put into EB1 category, and then your green card, EB1 or EB2, EB1 maybe, but your green card processing is much faster. While I was in Brown last year, I met Rishabh, and he has a lot of friends who have gone through the process of O1, starting their own companies and getting O1 visa, and then getting green cards pretty quick, and kicking their business really good.
It also helps marry Nick Jonas. That helps too, to get a green card. But thank you, Parth, our visa guru. All right, I'll wrap up so that we can keep going along. Thank you guys for the great questions. Hope that helps. Thanks so much for watching. We hope this video was really helpful to guide you guys in your journey to success. There's a couple ways you guys can say thanks. One is filling out the feedback form, where the link is in the description. That's going to help us put on more webinar events like this. Don't forget to subscribe to the channels of all the presenters to show your support and help us to help you guys. And lastly, connect with us on LinkedIn. Don't forget to tag us. You can recommend us. We really want to help you guys out in your journey to success here in America. Cheers.